out into power tactics. First of all, their ambassador is to be called by the foreign ministry. That is the diplomatic behavior. Their ambassador should be called by the foreign ministry's representative, explaining the action of their army or anti-social activities or whatever. Violation can take place by many ways. Smugglers can enter. Their parameter, normally, when we are enjoying good friendship with Bangladesh, it is not necessary that only a regular army should be put on the line of demarcation, that is an international border. Only paramilitary forces like Central Reserve Police or Border Security Forces or some other forces, you know that just their duty is to patrol. What is the point? Yeah. Their duty is to say, but there must be eternal vigilance, that is the price of security. Eternal vigilance. A patrol Jawan patrolling the international border, he is not supposed to sit near the fence. In some borders are also fenced. He is not supposed to sit or sleep on fence. Yes, fence is okay, so long as fence is okay, he will come to the conclusion that no unlawful entry by the armies or anti-social elements have taken place. Their duty is to keep absolute vigilance to see that no infiltration takes place. That's very, very important, and that is being carried out because we trust them. Intrusion into each other's country is a very serious provocation, it's an act of provocation. Had such things is taking place between India and China, China will never hesitate to pay the same with harsh force, brute force. They will retaliate. First they will retaliate and then they will reply. So I was studying the diplomatic procedure, how these border violations are handled. It is handled with diplomacy. But remember always, diplomats are also very shrewd. Who is a diplomat? A diplomat is one who does the nastiest thing in the nicest way. That is the essence of diplomacy. Such things are taking place. It cannot be avoided. In practical terms, such things are taking place. Innumerable instances I can quote. See, this deviation again from subject to subject. It is a lengthy subject. I am sorry. In my introduction itself, I must have told you and commented that I would like to share some of my thoughts. Some of my thoughts, ideas, experiences in respect of my service in Army during the last 22 years, not last immediately. Service 22 years from 1959 to 1980 when I was retired. That's okay. So, during that time, my experiences in both in peace as well as in war. So I was talking about the Jammu and Kashmir, where I had an opportunity to serve. So Jammu and Kashmir, the starting point was 1965 now. How it took place? So India attacked 4th pronged attack on those areas which I have said. The war took place 14 days. How many days?
Just 14.
14 days only. Number 1 Fazilka, West, Eastern Punjab, and areas between Lahore and on Pakistani side, on the Indian side, Amritsar, and K N Bhaskarn sector, it falls in Gurdaspur district of, I am not sure, because I am a very old soldier, and to narrate this, one should have a very alert and powerful, unforgettable mind. Only such people can talk authoritatively. Okay, but I don't include myself in that category. So it was a 4 primary attack. The war took place almost 14 days. And the war started with shelling. International boundary was, the troops crossed the boundary at about 12 o'clock on such and such a day. Surprised. War is the most brutal thing. Because most of you, young men, but having curiosity, even though having curiosity, intense interest, to know what exactly is a war. War is an act of insanity. Insanity of the highest order. War is not an act of God. It is a crime of man. Because war, before it is fought in the warfield, wars are fought in the warfield. You got the point. Please think about it very seriously. I am going to draw your mind to certain most important thing. The author of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, enacted the war in the mind of Arjuna in the battlefield. All the secrets of life were explained to him in the war field. As soon as Arjuna told him, I want to see with whom I wanted to fight. Take me around. Lord Krishna took him around the entire war field. Whom did Arjuna see? He saw his own relatives, his friends, his cousin brothers, his gurus, his acharyas. Now come back to this Pakistani scene of war. So, in that war, it was very swift war. Before generals plan a war, they plan it in their minds before it is actually enacted in the war field. Wars are fought in the mind first. You have got sand model exercises. Exercises, there is a name called sand model exercises, which are planned, executed, supervised, and cross-checked by whether the plan is not wrong. If plan goes wrong, and if a war plan is executed wrongly, enacted unwisely, the consequences are disastrous, resulting in the casualties, high casualties, both loss of material and manpower. That is why it has to be checked and rechecked, scrutinized, examined, studied, all these processes, then only it is put into action. They were satisfied. Yes, this time Pakistan has to be taught a lesson. This scenario is 1965, September, under the overall control of a very little and small politician called Lal Bahadur Shastri. Not even 4.5 feet or 4.75 feet tall, lean and frail, but I should say, I am an ordinary soldier. Who am I to evaluate him? The chief executive of this country, a prime minister, such a modest man, though he was a powerful man. Whatever Jawaharlal Nehru could not do during the last 18 years of his prime ministership, he did it in 18 months. Not that I am criticizing Jawaharlal Nehru. It is not my intention. my intention is, many political parties and leaders in this country underestimated the ability of Lal Bahadur Shastri. Even at that time, British Prime Minister was, after Macmillan, it's difficult to remember, he said, very tough man, very tough man. He is capable of taking tough decisions, fraught with dangerous and serious consequences, but come out at the same time victoriously. He instructed senior field commanders quite honestly, show the spirit of patriotism, not a political type patriotism. You show your valor, prove your leadership qualities by leading the troops from the front. If any general, I remember, not that I am a great man when I am speaking to you, I may speak about great matters to a small audience, but I am an ordinary man with an ordinary caliber. From that standpoint of view, I speak in an ordinary man can commit wonders. So there was one general, I also used to read military history of the Second World War, like you all. You also must have gone through. It is all curiosity. Warsaw fought, but how it was fought? Britishers were patriots, we should say that. Though we were servants, though they ruled upon us for almost 500 years, we should appreciate them. Not that I am their fan, British fan. No, whatever the institution they raised, whatever the scientific, technological, economic and social development they have made, it is all now degenerating. Don't you see? There are even universities, Cambridge, it is rated low now. Because of corruption. Because they devalue themselves. British is no exception of most of the all countries. What about India? You must have read newspaper day for yesterday. How the skeletons are rolling down. Stamps resulting to the government coffers to the tune of hundreds and thousands of crores of rupees. What I wanted to draw your attention, the inspiration from Lal Bahadur Shastri came to his senior defense officers, sacrifice your life if worst come to worst. The general whose name I would like to mention, who led his troops from the battlefront, he stood first. Come, I am there facing the enemy, you follow me. I am not asking you to come while keeping myself at the rear. I am at the front, follow me. How is the leadership qualities? Show the same spirit of leadership. So there were leaderships of good generals, good staff officers, even an ordinary officer, we expected a lot. Even some of our officers, they never cared for themselves. They were selected from the royal families. The quality of the officership was superb. They looked after themselves last. I myself remember one of my officers taking food in the mess after 12 o'clock, after ensuring, wartime, after ensuring all their Jawans serving under them had their food. What I wanted to say is leadership. It is leadership that counts. If you are honest, if you are consistent, if you are truthful, if you are accountable, they will follow you. You have to give an example to it. So the war progressed in 1965. in 3-4 sectors with various weapons. I am not supposed to mention the kind of weapons, its name, its caliber, guns, artillery, etc., etc. I am strictly forbidden from speaking whatever I may have been. So, war progressed, and there are a lot of casualties also. They have occupied. The Indian troops, within a span of 8 days, they were able to occupy at about 7,500 square kilometers of Pakistan.
7,500.
I am quoting newspapers at that time. Now, if I say 7,500 rupees, a question might arise, how do you know? Have you measured the distance? I have not measured the distance, I will still be useful. And secondly, if I am a soldier, I have a place to work and fight and contribute to the national defense. I am one single person, I am working in a unit, I am working as an officer, I am working in a particular area where I am assigned to work. Am I supposed to leave and roam to find out how much area has been occupied? They say, who are you? I can't place myself in the place of a highest officer and say this thing and that thing. This is happened. But in other words, within the short span of 7 days, Indian troops have been able to occupy such a large chunk of area from the Pakistan side, while they occupied very less. And there were prisoners of war also captured. We were able to capture their troops. That is also it's a normal practice, according to Genoa Agreement. 1954 Genoa Agreement, it is an international agreement, which is common to all nations, whichever has to fight a war, and where a soldier becomes disabled due to injuries sustained by him, or due to exceptional circumstances that has taken place. So soldier falls down, suffers an injury, becomes seriously injured, you know that, half dead, you know that, mentally became insane, or desertion in the face of enemy. Many things have taken. As I said, war is an act of insanity. Many things have taken place. You know that no consideration. There is no value for human dignity. Life has no value at all. It's all madness. That is the scenario. Thousands and thousands of shells, bullets, howitzer guns, this gun, that gun is lying on the field. As you know that in Diwali season, our children burst the crackers, and you will find millions and millions of cracker bits burnt, lying in all directions. So, I am sorry sir, I am unable to complete the subject. Even second, I was unable to proceed with the time span. Will you kindly permit me to tell our friends to ask their questions and doubts on the subject so far I have covered? Or you want to continue me on the same subject?
I think we can continue along with the questions. Maybe that will probably help.
If you have any questions so far, which...
Before that I will tell you. I have not told you anything new. There is every possibility of you gentlemen asking me and questioning me, sir, you said there is nothing new you have heard from me. I myself accept it. Over and above, and whatever genuine doubts, clarifications you have, I am ready to answer it to the best of my knowledge.
Sir, I had a query about, you told that in 1947-48 the Pakistani Rajakars attacked the Jammu Kashmir area. As far as I know, the Rajakar armies were in that Hyderabad, raised by the Nawab.
Both called themselves.
Both.
Both
They
are
are
also
called-
was
both are
Bhaskar.
called.
Both are called.
Okay.
The question that I have is, you went all the way, onto Pakistan side in 65.
Yes.
You are going close to Lahore, and some people even went into Lahore, right? How was the scene there? Like, of course, civilians will be living and going, but what was the morale of Pakistan's military?
Morale of Pakistan?
Military.
Military.
Yeah.
Analyzing the situation in the 1965 war, observers, as an individual, whatever I say, it is worthless. In general analysis, at that time there was no electronic media, you know that. It was the print media. We were exclusively depending upon our information from the press correspondents and war correspondents. From every newspaper side, one correspondent, who is called a war correspondent, is sent to forward areas, war-torn areas, where actually war is taking place, operations are being conducted, to see for themselves the extent of destruction that they have been caused, and the destruction, they were also allowed to visit the injuries suffered by our, and also the country which captured prisoners, they were also allowed to be seen by the concerned country on humanitarian grounds. Soldiers to be treated with maximum compassion and generosity. Humanitarian losses, even otherwise, merely because she has become a prisoner in the war, captured by an opposing country, enemy country, etc. With all that, he deserves humanitarian consideration. Though he is kept in the cell, in the war, etc., he should get food, accommodation, basic amenities, including newspaper, etc. That is according to the rules of the 1954 Geneva Constitution. Now, what I understand, what we understood at that time, depending upon the casualties suffered, the morale was comparatively not low, comparatively high. Equally, the morale on one side, we fought 2 battles from the here, in the same Pilora sector, Pilora sector, tank battle took place, very stiff tank battle. Tank was disabled, tank was captured, tank was destroyed in a particular sector. Even then, having they left the destroyed tank, the people, the crew of the who were operating the tank, as well as fighting the battle with the help of the tank, even though the tank was destroyed, they came out of the tank and picked up grenades. You know, grenade, you must have heard grenades and mortars, etc. These are infantry weapons. A grenade HE-36, hand grenade, high explosive 36. They had enough. Each crew member will have near about 10-15 grenades. With its destructive ability, yes, it can kill any number of people. With the splinters, etc. Similarly, shelling also. A shelling of 17 powder capacity, which is fired by the tank turret, tank. If it is fired, a 17-pounder made of steel, when it is fired through a tank, it, in the process of it comes out of the barrel, it is broken into any number of pieces, small pieces. If even a small splinter enters into your body, any part of the body, you should treat it as good as a bullet. It has the same effectiveness as a, that they was terrorized. Any number of Indians suffered through that. Disabled, you are unfit. Once if you receive that injury, you can't work. The very fact that you are unable to work, you are useless. Even then, soldier is treated as a human being with all humanitarian considerations according to the provisions of the 1954 Geneva Agreement.
You were taken as a prisoner of war in 1962 against the Chinese. So, what was your experience as a prisoner of war when China?
Today, I am not going to discuss about China. It's a very sensitive issue. I am not supposed to discuss.
How about the 1971 comparison?
71, as I told you, I was kept in standby. But very closer to Bangladesh, only 500 or 600 kilometers from Bangladesh. It is one of the states, Indian states in northeast now, Tripura, the capital of which is Agartala. We were there. Since I was serving in, I was on deputation to Assam Rifles. I was under deputation to Assam Rifles from the Indian Army for a period of 3 years, during which 1971 conflict broke out. So we used to hear a lot about things, but we are not directly involved in that.
So when the 1971 war happened and Bangladesh was created, did you see a lot of influx of Bangladeshis into India, in Assam and Tripura, obviously, Arunachal Pradesh?
You are right. You are right. As per the print media, you know, the Bangladesh authorities raised a force, a fighting force, which is known as Mukti Vahini. Have you heard? Mukti Vahini. Consisting of?
They were earned by Raw and our Indian Army only.
Now, maybe, it may be. I cannot straight away speak on the subject because of certain inhibitions. So, Mukti Vahini was there, and they were raised, and what we read from the newspapers was they were sent into Bangladesh in huge numbers to create confusion, to start, when war breaks out in a country. Many things leading to instability, the enemy wanted to break the morale of not only the general public, but also the troops. Whatever the damage or sabotage they wanted to cause, they can cause through various ways. Through deception, communication can be broken down, publication can be intercepted, communication can be intercepted by they can spread the false rumors. False rumors, you know that it causes havoc in war, especially leading to confusion, misleading, that is called deception. Most of the wars in contemporary times has been fought on deception. I will illustrate once, you will be wondering. It was already 110 rupees. My salary, 110 rupees. With that, with so much of effort, in such training is very difficult. In those days, I'm talking about 40 years, about 50 years, what kind of military training, technical training? Very hard. Physical, mental torture, but not against humanity. Because we have undergone all those mental and physical torture and sacrificed our youth so that the country, next generation can become various. They will show their valor, strength, energy. That spirit of sacrifice comes from that. Nowadays, a person who pays to his instructor unaccountable money and he pass me, you give me promotion. These things are happening every day, and military is no exception. But I can't quote with instructors. You are the best judges.
I think I have spoken enough.
So we want to hear more, but I think we are speaking out of time.
No, thank you, sir. Thank you for a very enlightening talk. I think for most of us, it is a privilege to hear about your experiences as someone who's been on the battlefront and fought some of these wars that we just now read about. Like I said in my initial comment, the war histories are not well recorded in this country. There are no war memorials. There is no meaningful cinema which has captured this. So I think it was very good to hear from someone who's gone through it. Before we close, a small token of appreciation from our side.
I request you to all be seated. I am extremely grateful to you all, my friends, and as a guest, and all those curious members of this first upcoming generation, to have shown tremendous enthusiasm in knowing the fundamental purpose why defense is organized, whether it is serving its purpose, and how defense can be rectified by bringing about necessary reforms and changes in the present setup, so that the nation's assets, nation's income, national wealth can be efficiently and judiciously utilized for the national development, for National Development Fund, from which millions of crores of rupees has to be incurred and spent for the development of national defense, because every country is becoming a law unto itself. You know that. I don't want to quote specific instances. Every country in this world wanted to flex its measures and show its powers on the peaceful, not so well developed countries. And such things will not happen. When crisis comes, all the Indians, regardless of caste, communities, status, and ability, should rise as one single person to face the challenge of external aggression and give a required and equally effective reply to see this country stand on its own feet self-sufficiently. I thank you very much. I am sure that you must have listened to my, I don't say lecture, it's only a talk, a brief talk on a vital subject, which I believe you feel as interesting and instructive. I thank you very much.